What's the best way to fight poverty? When it comes to governing, hands-off can be the best approach. Remove bureaucracy and people and businesses will thrive. That was the philosophy of Sir John James Cowperthwaite. In the 1960s, he was the top economic official for Hong Kong when it was a British territory. His free market approach transformed the city from one of the poorest places in the world to one of the richest. When Cowperthwaite arrived in Hong Kong after World War II, it was a sorry place with no natural resources and little trade. The British had all but written off the territory as a barren island with no future. But Cowperthwaite saw things differently. As a young man, he had studied the thinkers of the Scottish Enlightenment. He was an admirer of the famed 18th century philosopher Adam Smith and his classic book, The Wealth of Nations. Smith argued that a nation's prosperity was generated first and foremost by open markets and trade. British policymakers in the 1940s believed that government was needed to boost an economy. Cowperthwaite thought this was hogwash. How can heavy taxes and regulations that limit commerce make society richer? When he became Hong Kong's financial secretary in 1961, he put his free market ideas to work. He reduced barriers to trade, scaled back bureaucratic rules, and drastically limited the growth of government. Cowperthwaite refused calls to have his government build a tunnel across Hong Kong harbor. Let the private sector do it, he said. Eventually they did. He even declined making improvements to his own official residence. After all, why should he get a government freebie while he discouraged others from getting them? He also instituted a 15% flat tax. Compare that with taxes in Britain itself, where rates were as high as 98%. During his tenure as Hong Kong's financial secretary, real wages rose by 50%. The percent of the population in dire poverty fell dramatically. Yet the size of Hong Kong's government was less than 5% of the economy. The lesson? Reduced bureaucracy and fewer restraints on business equals more prosperity. When Cowperthwaite arrived in Hong Kong, its per capita income was just 30% of that of Britain. By the 21st century, it had surpassed Britain in per capita GDP. For his achievements, Sir John received multiple honors from the British Crown, including a knighthood in 1968. The great free market thinker Milton Friedman famously spotlighted the Hong Kong miracle in his iconic television series and the book, Free to Choose.
The free market enables people to go into any industry they want, to trade with whomever they want, to buy in the cheapest market around the world, to sell in the dearest market around the world. But, most important of all, if they fail, they bear the cost. If they succeed, they get the benefit.
John James Cowperthwaite died in 2006 at the age of 90. His success in the 1960s is a classic example of the power of economic freedom to create prosperity. Leaders today have much to learn from him. I'm Steve Forbes.